Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great, and welcome to your daily update on XRP. We're going to do a full update. We'll talk about some technicals, we'll talk about the expectations, but we will also talk about the general situation right now for XRP, which, and I've said this, look, yesterday I did a live stream and we spent some time talking about XRP as well. But I think generally XRP is actually holding on relatively well. I mean, if you take a look at, you basically need to take a look at one chart for that. And that is XRP versus Bitcoin, right? I mean, how is XRP performing against Bitcoin? And what you'll see is that on the 12-hour time frame, on the 4-hour time frame, on the daily time frame, we have on all time frames, we've been able to break above the trend. And so far, the daily time frame on Monday, we already broke above the trend. So technically, we are in an uptrend right now, although it's very early and that could still turn around. And we've been able to hold that as well. That's a great sign. And that's ultimately, of course, fueled by two things, I think, and that is relative stability from XRP in general. I mean, I should not need to remind you that XRP actually held support from February until April as well. These were months in which Bitcoin fell down lower. XRP was able to hold, right? So XRP, we already know, is a relatively steady cryptocurrency, which is great. I mean, right here again, I mean, ultimately, Bitcoin is trading much lower than where it was trading. I'm not actually 100% certain. But Bitcoin is trading much lower than where it was, I think, the 6th of July. And XRP is trading above that. So XRP technically is relatively strong. And ultimately, we've had quite a lot of bullish fundamental news for XRP. Now, I think it's a little too early to talk about that too much. As it stands right now, I don't think we have any, data on the XRP ETF. I think yesterday an XRP ETF by cilinixfxcapital launched, but that is most likely not going to be a major XRP ETF when we're talking about inflows. I think it's, look, there's this website that actually does inflows as well, which I might be able to check out. If I'll be able to see that, it would be amazing. So let me quickly check that out. But I think it's too early nonetheless, right? I mean, the XRP, nah, we don't have it. No, it's too early. There's no solid inflow information, but that combination of technically being a relatively strong crypto project, there seems to be not a lot of selling pressure, to be fair, and then outside of that, also those positive fundamentals that made it so that XRP has been able to hold its range relatively well. I mean, XRP has been able to hold this range between 2.27 and 2.55 very well since the 10th of October. Now, that is both a blessing and a curse, because in better market circumstances, if Bitcoin was actually able to hold some stability, I'm pretty sure XRP would have rallied, right? And XRP obviously hasn't rallied, and we've seen some strong bearish moves right here as well. And I think given the current fundamental situation, this morning, for example, the volatility index again opened higher, which means that it opened with higher uncertainty baked into the financial markets. I think it is more likely we still have an imbalance right here at 2.26. We still have an imbalance right here at 2.22. I think it is short term, even though fundamentally and technically to a certain extent, I'm quite bullish on XRP. I think it's more likely we're going to test those. And if it really, like if push comes to shove, if we open the NYO, the US session today, and we have massive repo operations, which has to do with liquidity, I'll keep you updated on that. We could even spike all the way down to 2.1. But ultimately, I do think we'll hold those support levels. And under the current fundamental conditions, I would say 2.2 is more likely that we're going to spike down into that, find support, stability, and then it all depends on the fundamentals, but I would say that a move into 2.4, 2.41, which is the point of control, right? So that works as a bit of a magnet always, but that's also where we left quite a massive fair value gap, as you can see. I think a move into that is quite likely. So ultimately, bearish pressure to start off with, especially if the fundamentals do not clear up, then support, stability, and a move up. But I don't, for now, I think it's too early. I think there's too much uncertainty for me to tell you that we're going to get any major moves. So if that is coming, if I do see some sort of indication for that, I'll be the first to tell you. But for now, this is what I feel comfortable telling you for XRP. So thank you for watching, everybody. Take care. I'll see you on my next videos, and bye.